Hi, I'm Penina Flug. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm just going to invite my co-host Caryn Guttman-Weber to join.
Okay.
Hi.
Penina. How are
Hi, how
you?
are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
So nice to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is our series on effective communication from dating to marriage. I'm Caryn Guttman-Weber. I'm an IFS therapist in the 5 towns, and I work specifically with people who are dating and with relationship issues.
Hi, I'm Penina Flug. I'm a couples therapist in private practice in Boca Raton, Florida. I specialize in emotionally focused couples and family therapy. I've been doing that for a long time, and more recently, I decided to get involved in education, premarital education and marriage education. And I'm very passionate about getting more people to get marriage education, premarital education, as well as education about relationships during the dating stage. And that's why we're here tonight. Caryn and I met a few months ago and realized that we both shared this passion to have more people educated about relationships in our community.
Yes. So we both have a lot of experience working with people with different relationship issues, and we really wanted to help take a preventative stand on it. We want to raise awareness about the common challenges in the dating process, as well as provide strategies to the daters and the people around the daters, whether that be parents or advisors, to navigate the process more smoothly.
So thank you. Oh,
Yeah.
so sorry.
You can continue, Penina.
We chose this topic because based on our experiences working with, both of us work with a lot of people needing help with relationships. We've seen how crucial it is, and how far prevention can go. And we've seen how crucial it is to be educated and prepared for the different transitions in our lives. And we have so much to talk about. So we kind of decided we're going to start with communication skills during the dating stage, and hopefully we'll come back in future episodes to share, communication about different stages, engagement and then marriage.
Yes. So we want to talk about just some of our concerns that we're seeing first. So some concerns during the dating process that we both noticed was a lack of self-awareness. So a lot of the dating process, there's a lot of pressure to get married, and there isn't always so much time because especially in the community, there is often a pressure to date really pretty quickly out of high school, seminary, yeshiva, early on in life. And often people just don't have the time to gain that self-awareness, to have that time to themselves to really learn who they are, what their patterns are, and especially their attachment style. I've given a few talks about that. Just noticing, right, in your family of origin, what the style you grew up with was, what you really might have gained, what you might be missing, which for everybody we gain and we're also missing. So taking that time to really reflect on where you come from, the dynamics in your household, also your past relationships, meaning your friendships are also earlier in life, what you've noticed about your style in these friendships, what kind of energies you're attracting, what kind of energies you're attracted to, and the different patterns of that, and what worked and what didn't, for you. And breaking some patterns that may come from some unhealthy dynamics you've seen, you've witnessed in life. So really, really the time and space is something that we are concerned there hasn't been enough of in the dating process.
Yeah, just to continue with what you're saying, I love what you were saying about knowing our attachment styles. I think that one thing today is that people dating and engaged couples that I see are a lot more educated than I was when I got married 26 years ago. There wasn't a lot of education. I didn't learn a lot of these things until after graduate school. Okay, so I think that that is a good thing in our times. There's a lot of good information out there. However, I do think that, if you think about if you're going on a vacation to a foreign country, you're getting a new job, you're going to try to find all the things you need to know. What are the best rides? What are the best train routes? What do I need to know for my new job? But unfortunately, with dating and marriage, a lot of times, like you said, Caryn, it's just like, okay, you get off the plane from seminary or you graduate high school, and okay, it's time to date. And unfortunately, we're so busy that sometimes we kind of forget to slow down and say, wow, this is like a really important time, and we really need to be prepared, be intentional, and educate ourselves. So then when we're talking now about the concerns, so whenever I see couples, I kind of always ask them about the dating process when they met. And what I notice is missing a lot of times in a couple's dating process is parental involvement, or sometimes there's too much parental involvement. That is not good. But sometimes there's actually not enough. Or it could be that a 22-year-old is navigating this all on her own, not really having a relationship role model or someone to talk to, and thinking, you know what, like, this looks easy, like I can just wing it. But a lot of healthy communication skills don't come naturally, and we do need to learn them. So in terms of the challenges that we see that we're trying to change by creating awareness is, one thing is pressure to date from a young age, pressure to date quickly, pressure to worry about what number date you're on, or like, what are other people thinking if they see me on the date, or they know I'm still dating this guy and it's 7 weeks. And I always kind of like, well, we're going to get to solutions later. So hold on, I'll back up a second. Okay. So external pressures also, I do think that there's too much of a focus. Even I've looked at resumes, shit up resumes in my life. I'm not a fan of resumes because I really don't think you find out much from a resume. So what I think there's a big focus on, what seminary or yeshiva did the person go to, or what community, what shul do they go to, what, different things that are not really important when you're trying to like build a life with someone. Like, they're not the most important things, like what school the person went to, right? So I think that we sometimes forget that, and we just go with what everyone else is doing, and we don't remember, wait, what's going to make me or my child happy down the line, long term? Is this person going to take care of my child, right? So unfortunately, pressure, societal pressure can lead someone to a bad decision. So I think that we would like to change that. The other issue is back to what Caryn was saying about knowing ourselves before we get married, is that sometimes people have mental health issues and they don't want to get help because they're afraid about what somebody would think. Like, how is it going to look on my sheriff resume? Which is ridiculous. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. We all need help in different areas of our life, and therapy is a great gift, right? So some stigmas prevent people from getting the help that they need, and then it shows up in marriage, right? So it's really important to just know yourself, know your strengths and weaknesses before you start dating and while you're dating.
Yeah, and I think to what Penina was speaking of also, it's really that we want to help people build healthy relationships. The goal shouldn't just be getting married, which, societally, there's been just so much focus. And again, if people want to get married, of course, we want to help with that. And as a society, we understand the importance of marriage. But there's been like an outcry from the community of divorce prevention, or why is divorce rate higher? And we find that in the dating process, there's not so much of a focus on creating healthy relationships, or, as Penina said, making sure that each individual feels safe and cared for within the process, right? When there's such a focus on only presenting a certain picture, it's hard for a person to take that space that I was talking about earlier of self-awareness, knowing their different parts, what their needs are, what needs have not gotten met. What I said earlier as well with the value system, really, what's your value system, right? If what's on the resume is your value system, okay. If it's missing those things, really making sure you get that information, really making sure also that you know that information about yourself, which I think, again, ties into what you said about resumes. That's, a definition of a value system. Each person has their value system, which you really want to make sure that you're firstly aware of, because you can't ask another person what their value system is if you're not really sure what yours is and what you're looking for. they don't always have to be exact, like our values have to be exact, but they need to align to really create a union, a partnership. Value systems need to align. So really, again, gaining that awareness. And for our intents and purposes, the mission of this series is really to help and to put a focus on building stronger, healthier relationships.
Yeah, and I love what you said about values being aligned, because sometimes like people just get swept up in the excitement. They want to have a party, they want to get engaged. You know, all their friends are engaged, and it's hard. It is hard, and that they forget to like look at the big picture of what's going to actually make them happy. That it's just not worth it to like, you know, rush into something. Um, it's like when you think about values, it's not just like saying, oh, I want someone with this hashkafa or who is going to choose this kind of lifestyle. You have to kind of actually think about, what do you actually want? What is that going to look like if you're not on the same page with someone? So it is really important to be realistic, you know. And sometimes, like, especially if someone has just made a major change in their life, like just come home from yeshiva or just become observant, or any major change, you know, it's a time to like take things a little slowly and really like know yourself, know what you want, and remember that this is such an important decision. And it doesn't matter what the other people say; they're not going to be there with you, right? They're not living your life with you. You need to decide what's best for you. So in terms of why we're here, we want to give you some strategies, some for parents and daters, you yourselves, about how to better navigate the dating system. Right? We can't. I talked about change, and we can't really change the whole dating system, but you can change the dating system for you or for your child. You can do what you think is right and not listen to the noise out there. So one thing again is to encourage self-awareness, right? So help your child know your child's strengths and weaknesses. Help your child get the help that they need before they start dating or even while they're dating. If you know, think about, think about, you know, any stage in life, we need help. We need a mentor to help us through any new stage. So we're promoting self-awareness, learning about relationships, reading books, listening to podcasts, and then also making sure that you have a person that you can trust. One person. You don't want to talk to different people and have too many cooks in the kitchen. One unbiased person who has the ability, who has life experience, to be your person that you lean on during the dating process. And the other thing is that one of the things so dating coaches will help you learn healthy communication skills, healthy relationship skills, right? So that's really important. And I always say that dating coaching is it's like premarital education, right? Because when you're working with a dating coach, you're learning how to develop a healthy relationship. So that's important. And then the other piece that dating coaches could also help you with, but also, you know, we're trying to tell you about, is have realistic expectations. Like, you kind of have to know what to expect on a date, on a first date, on a second date. You know, what should be happening at this point? What should you be looking for? Because a lot of times people are too quick to dismiss or end a relationship without seeking proper guidance, because they don't realize that real dating is not like in the movies. It's not like Hollywood. Any good relationship requires work. Any happy marriage requires intentional work. Anything good in life that we achieve, we need hard work to get there, right? So it's funny. I always say, like, you know, people see, you go to a wedding and you see a couple get married, and you're like, okay, you know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful time. And I always say, like, only the parents know like what it takes. You know, it takes, dating is a process, right? And people make assumptions by seeing their friends and assuming, oh, it was so easy for them. Like, you know what, this should be easy. I should know on the fourth date, or I should know on the 10th date. And it's not really true, because that's why you need a mentor to talk to, someone to talk to while you're dating. So have realistic expectations. And then again, like what Caryn said before, really try to figure out what is important, right? And you don't want to have that list be too long. You want to think about what is actually going to make me happy in 3 years when I'm sitting alone with this person, spending every day with this person. What do I need this person to be like? You know, it doesn't matter if the person is the most, you know, charismatic person in the room or the life of the party, right? What's going to actually make me happy? So I think, one more piece is important that we want to help with the dating process is um, we're suggesting that during the dating process that someone really does the work to learn healthy communication skills, learn about listening, how to be a good listener, how to have empathy, how to validate, how to be vulnerable, right? Because these important communication skills are very important to help you get through the dating process. Like it's you can't do you're not going to like successfully you have to get through a dating process to work to build a relationship. You have to learn the basic communication skills, and they don't come naturally. Some people we have to make the effort to learn these skills.
Right. So really the time and space to learn yourself. And by learning yourself, I mean also knowing your own communication style, which often, like I said, has to do with attachment. So knowing if you're like avoidant, for example, like if you avoid conflict, you'd want to know that. And often that's the time to utilize therapy. If you've noticed you've been getting into relationships or in friendships, you avoid the hard topics, you avoid conflict, or you go the other way. You can get very conflictual. You create, things that feel after the fact, like I probably didn't have to start that argument, right? Having the awareness, sometimes by using therapy, because sometimes it's hard to have that awareness for ourselves, but also while you're dating, you can already be working on your communication skills. You can be aware of what your strengths and weaknesses, like Penina said, are, and already be using the dating to learn the communication, even if this person, let's say, isn't right for you. But how would you know that without being able to have these kinds of conversations? So sometimes you can utilize like therapy in the process to help you have the hard conversations. Noticing, how you feel in your body. Are you comfortable on the date? How do you feel between the date? Do you miss this person? Is your attraction growing, right? Or did I notice that on the first date, my attraction was really high and it keeps slipping down, right? We want to take a look at that. What may have happened in between? Is that nerves, or is there, red flags concerning things here? Again, with knowing your own patterns, it's really important. Sometimes people feel very, very comfortable in what they're used to. And that's why I keep emphasizing the importance of looking back on your home life and noticing what was healthy, what was less healthy, because sometimes people will repeat what feels familiar because it does feel there's a certain safety in even familiarity, even if you notice an unhealthy dynamic, but it's an unhealthy dynamic you're used to. And sometimes we have a subconscious fear of getting into a dynamic that we're just not used to. What if it's worse? Instead, what we want to promote again is overall healthy. Just because you saw something doesn't mean it was the safest. So we want to just take a moment to take a look at that. Again, sometimes for that, you need an objective person, a mentor, a therapist to sit with and notice what was healthy, what wasn't. Do I actually want to repeat it? Do I want to end up in something similar? How do I take the good, leave behind some things that were less good, less healthy? So really, really noticing. And again, the advice I give to any of my clients, or as a therapist, I'm not really an advisor, but something that I suggest that they do is often keeping like a journal in between dates. Again, what are the thoughts and what are the physical things that you're reacting, right? So sometimes a client will have something like, in the car on a date, I felt a fluttering in my stomach. Okay, perhaps that's butterflies, nerves, right? Excitement. And then at other times, there can be like a twisting feeling in my stomach that really was disgust. Something about this really bothered me. Maybe it has to do with the other person. Maybe it has to do with myself. Maybe we're just not a match. But I want to note, because often the mind and the body, we want them to be aligned. They're not always. We get messages from both. And the more we can notice, the more we're just getting information.
Yeah, it's so true what you said, because anxiety is a big part of dating. It's an anxiety provoking process for most people, right? So you need to have an unbiased person to kind of talk to and say, wait, is this anxiety or is this something about the person, right? So you can't navigate this on your own. You shouldn't try to, right? Um, Asking for help is a strength, and that's something that we talk about at all stages of healthy communication. That it's so important to ask for help. Um, and you're, from friends, from family, from a professional. If your parents aren't able to help you, or you feel as a parent you're not the right one, find someone to help your child navigate this process. So we're talking about now what to look for, right? What's important about this dating process, right? So one thing that I always say is spend time with the person, like in a natural setting. A date is not a very natural setting, right? So for the beginning, you're just going to be going on dates. But if you start to think that this person has potential, it's really important to see the person in a natural setting, right? As it gets more serious, spend a Shabbos together. You know, sometimes a lot of people tell me, I can't, you don't know me, I'm too religious, I can't spend a Shabbos together. And I tell them, find me one rabbi who's going to say that you can't spend a Shabbos together, right? Like you're trying to make the most important decision of your life. You know, you can find a tznius way to do this, but it's super important to see the person. How do they interact with their family? What is the family like, right? What are you getting yourself into, right? So I strongly suggest, okay, if you can't spend a Shabbos together, you know, go on a long drive, a road trip, go spend time together. See how the person handles stress. How does a person handle making decisions, right? And this is another important thing that Caryn and I have talked about that's super important, is that sometimes, like let's say a shadchan or parents can be overly involved in the dating process. And I often find myself saying when people ask me, like, let the two people dating talk about this, right? If they can't talk about this, they're not really ready to progress, to get married or get engaged, right? So it's so important for you when you're dating to see how does the person you're dating react to like something difficult. You know, if you say something bothers you, how do they react? Like, because even at that stage of dating, if a relationship is progressing, you have to feel safety. You know, it takes time to really develop emotional safety, but you have to see that you have to feel safe to share with the person, right? So it's very important to start talking about things and seeing how the person reacts, seeing how the person interacts with other people, and just letting yourself have that time. And again, not listening to what other people might say about taking the time that you need.
Yeah, and you know, that really brings it together for me, Penina, in terms of really, again, the noticing of your own values and things that you want to bring up, right? From that, like, does this person share that, or things you want to know about this person? If you notice you're struggling with that, it's hard for you to bring it up. Noticing what comes from the other person. Is this a person I feel safe with? Or is there something missing here? Is there a reason I can't bring this up? Do I myself just generally struggle with that? Is it hard for me to have the hard conversations? When parents and mentors are overly involved, where they take over for the person, we then miss out a lot on the couple's actual interactions as well as their ability to communicate. And then sometimes like a Shana Rishona comes and they're having more arguments and they are so uncertain as to why, but they've never been able to have these hard conversations. And that's sometimes a time, again, if needed, to utilize therapy or rabbinical advice or some form of a mentor of how do I have this hard conversation? I'm noticing I don't know how to bring it up. It's hard for me to do so. Or when I did, this person reacted in a way that made me uncomfortable. Is this like red flag? Is there just like a way that I'm wording it? So noticing, right, when we're triggering someone else, when we're triggered, which ends up being a huge part of any relationship, friendship, right? So really noticing our dynamic. And that's what's so great about having these bigger conversations while dating, because it gives the time and the space to really notice, how am I at having these conversations? Am I receptive to the other person? Is the way they're saying it comfortable for me? Do they give me comfortable space to feel heard? Right? That gives us such key information that ends up being such a big part of the relationship. And again, I just want to reiterate in these conversations as well, noticing mentally and physically how you're feeling yourself and how you feel when interacting with the other person and about the other person in between dates. Really the mind-body messages. Are they aligning? Are they different? You know, is my mind kind of getting like focused on that pressure to get married, but my body is not feeling safe in this environment? Those are the time you really want to look into that, because a part of you might really be trying to keep you as safe and healthy and comfortable as possible. And we don't want to be ignoring anything.
Right. And then like sometimes like this is an important conversation that comes up where one person might be ready, you know, to take the relationship to the next level before the other person. And it's so important to be able to have that conversation open and honestly and let the person know. And I always tell people, like, when they're deciding are they ready, like, you have to feel really good about it. You have to feel confident about the decision. Can't be like just pushing ahead and then like waiting until you're engaged to deal with the issues, right? You work on things. You might have to work on the relationship while you're dating and just, you know, sometimes you have to work out things, but it doesn't mean that it's, that it's not worth working on, right? So it's really important to, to get the right help that you need and to learn about yourself and the person that you're dating while you're dating. And like, we'll talk more next time about actually some of the things that we teach once a couple does decide to get married. We'll teach we'll teach skills and we'll practice healthy communication. And some people will even want to do that when they're dating, and sometimes when you go to a therapist or a coach while you're dating, they will role play with you, which is very helpful.
Yeah, it's such a great piece that you just gave, Penina. In summarizing, as well as just giving a great example, right? That kind of final conversation in dating of when do we get engaged, right? If one person needs more time and space, right? Can the other person receive that? Can we say that in a respectful way? Is time and space pulling us apart or really keeping us together? Because it's the kind of conversation that happens throughout life. Are we ready for another baby? Are we ready for a house? Are we ready to move? Right? That conversation is one conversation that ends up coming out throughout life in a different way. And how we navigate that, and kind of a message to kind of the parents and shadchanim, taking a step back sometimes in that place, being supportive of helping navigate that conversation, but not having it for those people can be so helpful, because now that's really the first of conversations that are just going to keep happening in life. So the first time we learn that, and even if a person later says, I gave you the time and the space, but the way you said it was hurtful, right? We learn so much from that. So that's really just a great communication aspect and a really helpful note, right, to give that example, because it's one of those examples where it could feel really triggering or really scary, especially with that outside pressure, but we really want to navigate how to have conversations like that because they're so crucial and they come up again and again. So again, that self-awareness, that relational awareness is really probably to me one of the most crucial things, and the time and the space that Penina mentioned is so important, and the utilizing of objective people who are not in the relationship to the extent that they can be helpful. So when to take a step back and it just come from you, and when to utilize the help around you.
Okay, good. So I'll just summarize a few points and then we'll open it up to questions. So the main points are that we just, during the dating process, to be educated, learn about yourself, learn about healthy relationships, think about what you want for your marriage, what do you really want, what's important to you, have a mentor, someone to talk to help you through it, and just take the time that you need, and don't worry about what other people think. I think those are the main points that we just wanted to leave you with, and we hope to come back and share more with you in the future. If anyone has questions.
Yes, we'll give it a minute for questions. We want to thank everybody for coming on. We hope that this was helpful. You can look up our handles and our OKclarity pages if you have any questions for either of us. You're welcome,
Yeah.
If you see this live after it's posted, to ask us whatever you'd like. And hopefully we'll come back and deal with the next phases of relationships. Again, it was so nice to have everybody here. And Penina, thank you so much for inviting me to do this with you. It was so lovely.
I'm so happy. This is great. Any questions?
And I think you're welcome to submit them to OKclarity after the fact as well, if you can't reach either of us or aren't sure how to, and they will probably forward it along with us. So also a special thank you to OKclarity for making this an option.
Yeah, thank you for letting us share these ideas, these important ideas.
And thank you for the love. I see the hearts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much. Penina, I think I log off and you save. So thank you
Yeah,
for doing that.
and also we do hope to do this again. So if you have any ideas that you want us to address,
For sure.
reach out to us. And
Yeah,
thanks so much for
we
having
are
us.
definitely open to feedback. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Okay, great. Okay, have a good night.